20 rounds out, and yeah, I kept hearing the bell ring and she was impressive. She was actually missing. She had somebody hit her. Maybe, Dave, it may be, but the offender was still there. I did too. I felt the same way when I took stuff in California. No, it's not. I took my wife for the first time.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the Monday, August 11, 2025, Richland Town Board of Supervisors Business Meeting to order. Can you take roll call, Leslie?
Sure. Tim Arnold?
Here.
Chris Vanelli?
Here.
Kathy Doyle?
Here.
Also present is Chief Fico, Engineer Mike Schwartz, Solicitor Link Treadwell, Administrative Assistant Vicky Schuler, and Township Manager Leslie Hune.
All right, at this point, I'm going to ask everybody to stand for a prayer, then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we thank you for the opportunity for us to meet freely, and we come to you tonight asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we make decisions that will affect the residents of our township. Help us to engage in thoughtful discussion, give us discernment, and allow us to grow closer as a group to nurture the bonds of our community. We pray for your hand of protection over our police, volunteer firefighters, and their families. We thank you for our township staff and our volunteers, and we ask your blessing over them and their families and over all who live in Richland Township. Please cover us with your grace and remind us that in all we do here tonight and all that we accomplish is for the service of our residents in our town. Open our minds to the task at hand and open our hearts to your will. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
I know it's changed. I
Me too, you're
think someone upset.
You know, and now we find out who pays attention to what we're saying.
Do you want to explain or just?
Go ahead, it's your
So
idea.
it was brought to our attention. It's God before country. So we are going to pray before we do the pledge. So that's why we changed up the order. Look at Dave.
I don't know any other organization does it that way. No, I do that. So I kind of dispute that.
Well, we're going to.
Okay, all right, let's move on. Oh, wait, hold on, wait. Do we have public comment at this time? All right.
What I just said.
All right. So we have no announcements. I'm serious though. Now I'm going to open the public comment. Is there any public comment? All right. We have no public hearings. We have no zoning hearing board application. Let's move on to development matters. We have before us tonight Richard and Arlene Beringer looking for a lot line adjustment. Am I correct on that?
That's correct.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Just make sure you give Vicki your information, please, for the minutes.
Scott Meese from Meese Engineering.
Thank you, Scott.
So, yeah, Beringers have two properties side by side at the northwest corner of the intersection of Richland Town Pike and California Road. And what they want to do is consolidate them. The one property is 21 acres in size. The other is 2 acres, so it'll be a total of 23 acres. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Go ahead. We're just communicating back and forth a little bit.
It's pretty straightforward. Your township engineer did a review. I didn't see anything in his review that created a problem, and will comply with his conditions. We just request approval of the consolidation plan.
All right. Chris, you have any questions on this one? Kathy?
No questions.
All right, this is rather simple, just a lot line adjustment, all we're looking at. So you have before you, somebody would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary final Barringer Consolidation Final Plan, subject to compliance to the Gilmore and Associate Review Letter dated July 2nd, 2025, compliance with all zoning and subdivision and land development ordinances requirements, compliance with the regulations of all municipal and governmental agencies having jurisdiction, and all fees owed to the township being paid in full.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Kathy made the motion. Chris, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, next is going to be the approval of the supervisor meeting minutes. Just keep note that there are two different meetings you have to approve the minutes for.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 14th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes.
And I'll second that.
Chris made the motion, Kathy seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll also make the motion to approve the July 29th, 2025 Board of Supervisors special meeting minutes.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Once Chris made the motion, Kathy seconded that also. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, has everybody had the opportunity to take a look at the bills?
I have.
Is there any questions? I'm not going to have a motion.
It sounded like you had a question.
No, I no question.
Okay.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve payment of the July 2025 bills.
I'll second.
Okay, Kathy made that motion. Chris seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. All right, looks like the 2024 audit report has been prepared by MVA Taxes and Advisors. There was no findings noted, so at this time, the board needs to take action that we have actually received and acknowledge receiving the 2024 financial audits.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receiving the 2024 financial audit report as prepared by MVA.
I'll second that.
All right, Chris made the motion, Kathy seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If you'd like to review the audit, it's an attachment on the board docs, and we had advertised the concise financials.
I'm sorry.
Have we advertised the concise financials in this?
The concise, I did double check on that. The concise financials are normally done in March, so then we get this, and then it'll be done in March again for the concise financials.
Okay, thank you.
On the shared.
All right, long awaited
Michael.
MS4 updates for the Tehican and Unami Creek restoration.
Thank you.
Hang on, Mike, we're getting your pictures. Go ahead, you can
That's all
talk, but we're getting your pictures.
How long do you want
It
this
was-
meeting to be? No. All right, so in accordance with, with the MS4 permit that the township has, this was the annual update of where we stand. Well, they get some pictures up that we can share for both the Unami and the Tehican stream restoration projects.
Michael, let me help you out a little bit.
Yep.
First, let me ask you a few questions so we can move this.
Yep.
What is MS4? It's in a nutshell.
MS4 is the municipal's stormwater system. So it's soils, pipes, detention basins, any of those systems that are within the census area of the township. So it's not the entire township, but it is an area defined by DEP.
And this helps improve the flow of water. Am I correct in that?
The overall storm sewer helps with the flow of water.
Okay.
But this is, the MS4 permit is, the maintenance and protection of that system.
So we asked you to go out and investigate two areas of the township where would qualify for the MS4. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, so the township MS4 is in two watersheds, the Tehican and the Unami watersheds.
Okay. All right. Let's start out with the first one. First one we did, I believe, was the Tehican. Am I correct on that?
That's correct.
So what was actually done in the Tehican?
So to satisfy the pollution reduction plan, which the township was required to prepare as part of the last MS4 cycle, which each cycle is a 5-year permit timeframe, to reduce sediment to DEP standards for the pollution reduction plan, we proposed a stream restoration project on the Tehican. The project area is along the property line of Old Castle and the new MRP warehouse facility that's currently under construction. What we did was approximately 1,000 feet of stream bank restoration, which involved removing dead and invasive species, doing some slope grading of the edge of slope. We proposed some toe protection of the the stream channel, which is putting larger diameter rock to help prevent erosion during the higher velocity storms. And we replanted those areas with native vegetation, which will help reestablish the stream bank, all in the hopes of reducing erosion and sediment pollution downstream and in the Tehican.
Okay, so that was phase one.
Yep.
Does the DEP come out and inspect each phase as it's completed? So have they come out and taken a look into the Tehican?
So during the process, the Conservation District was there, and the Conservation District had a waterways specialist that was in and around the project site during construction. DEP officials actually haven't seen it. They wanted to, but the township had a MS4 audit on July 17th.
Okay.
That Jim Benner and I took part in.
Was that for both the Tehican and
That was for the entire MS4, covering all the entire permit in its entirety, including the restoration projects. But the Tehican project is very grown in, and it was decided that they didn't feel like using machetes to walk in to see the restoration project.
So the job was done properly according to the audit?
Yes, they were very pleased with the pictures. We took pictures throughout the construction process, but my office went out in March and also in July. So we took pictures at the beginning of the growing season, and then, with vegetation taking, and they were very pleased with how it appeared.
So that was the Tehican on more or less on this side of the township.
Correct.
Now let's talk about the UNAMI. What was done? UNAMI was over by Brighton Gardens. Am I correct? Is that near it?
That's correct. So it was right off of the Blue Heron Park in Braden Gardens. That was a much shorter restoration project. It's technically a stream back there that comes from Braden Gardens. It develops. And what we did there is a similar process. We cut the slopes back along the edge of the banks, did live stakes with native plantings, took out invasives, took out some large trees, and cleaned up some of the dead.
So part of this program is what you're doing here tonight. You're actually required to have basically educate the public on what we're doing. Am I correct?
So as part of the permit, there's 6 minimum control measures. One of them is public education, and that's this.
So consider yourself educated tonight.
Speaking annually, satisfies, checks the box for public education.
And don't we have,
That's what I was here for.
don't we have a page, I think, on our website dedicated to this also?
Yeah, there's a lot of different methods. So we on the website we include some DEP developed materials that talk about when it rains, it drains. Just be cautious of where the water runoff goes. It goes into our system and into the creeks and waters.
So what is our next step then to continue to be compliant with the MS4 program?
So as it stands, we're waiting to hear back from the audit. We replied to some initial comments, but it's the township's obligation to just continue to work towards addressing these 6 minimum control measures. And one of them that I anticipate coming back is just doing some basically inter office, inter township education. So speaking with the road crew and everyone, but that should be done annually. It's something DEP provides programs, or even my office could sit down and go over it with them.
Okay, good. Mike, one last question is, do you recall where the numbers came in for this project for both the UNAMI and the Tehican watershed?
It's not exact, but it's over $500,000.
Over $500,000 of taxpayer money for this. Was any of this, Leslie, $500,000 reimbursable by the federal government or the state?
I believe we used some of our ARPA funding for this to
Okay.
cover it, to not use all tax dollars, so it was covered under ARPA funds.
Okay. Sorry, folks, took so long to get the pictures up. There was just a lot of pictures.
So this is the UNAMI. You can see it's a very small waterway. It does run, in my experience, it's constantly running. But you can jump over it compared to Hicken, which is.
Some people can.
That's when we put big rocks in.
Chris, you have any questions for Mike while we're browsing through the pictures?
Do not, thank you.
Kathy?
No, this is awesome. Thank you for the pictures, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. And not a lot of people are going to see the Tehican project, but it does look, it looks good. And actually on Google Earth now, you can see the work area, which,
Really?
again, DEP was like, oh, all right. I guess you could actually see the area, because I think they were initially thinking that they could walk into it, and we were telling them, I don't think you want to, but yeah.
Mike, anything else you'd like to add? Kathy, I mean, if we just keep scrolling through as we're talking, even on the next agenda item, if Vicki has enough, if she's done with them, that's fine.
Well, I would just say, and the one thing that Leslie is aware of for this coming budget, for next year's budget, we'll need to budget for the outfall screenings. So we'll have to do the dry flow screenings of all the outlets in the township, which we did during the last 5-year cycle, and we'll have to do during this current 5-year cycle.
All right, good.
That's really the only upcoming, I think, item we need to check off.
So for your viewing pleasure, we'll just, Vicki's just going to continue to throw the pictures up there. You guys take a look through them as we go on to the next agenda item.
I think you have to open the other folder. Go back out, go back to her email. Yeah, go back to the stream bank photos, just above the list. By Bianca's name. Yeah, go back there, and then you go to the next, we just did UNAMI, you could go to Hicken.
If you go to the second grouping, it will be the July photos. No, go back out.
Yep.
The last one, I think, right?
Yeah.
I can't.
That's the end result.
Nice. Wow.
So there was, one of the things I think it really probably was the biggest cleanup was all the dead. There was huge trees dead across the water, which are all gone. And really with the Ticken project, I think Old Castle was a great neighbor. They gave us access to the site through their property, and they took most of the material. So it was recycled right there on their property, so.
All right.
Nice.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Good work.
Moving on to Tollgate Landing Trail, approval of the easement agreement. Mr. Treadwell.
Thanks. This is an easement agreement between Richland Township, Milford Township, and the Tollgate Landing HOA. And the purpose of this easement agreement is to allow for the construction of a trail on HOA-owned property at some point in the future. The reason why we're asking for your approval and signing of it tonight is because we can't apply for grant funding unless there's a document that says we have permission to use the property for the trail. So what I would propose is that and I think Milford signed it, right, Leslie?
Correct.
Milford signed it already. That we approve it and sign it, and then we will hold it and we won't record it until sometime in the future, depending on whether we get grant funding and whether or not the project even gets final approval. But the reason for trying to get this document signed is that it's a requirement for grant funding.
Okay, so then we will not be held responsible for the easement until until it's actually recorded, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, I had a question. We don't have to record it in order for it to be eligible for the grant?
No, they just need to know that we have permission to do it.
Okay.
Because, everybody knows that maybe, if it's a $4 million project, then we're not going to do it. So,
That will also give us the opportunity to finish up any details we may have that we have to work with.
yep.
But this is not uncommon for getting any sort of grant. A lot of times they want to know whether especially when you have several parties involved, they need to make sure all parties are somewhat agreeable before they're going to go out and invest any money or searching for grants for the project overall.
Yeah, and this document does not require the project to happen. I mean, it specifically says in there that it might not, so.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking way ahead, just asking a question. So assuming, just for conversation's sake, the trail gets approved, it's put in, is the township then responsible for maintenance of that trail?
Both townships are responsible for the maintenance of the portion of the trail that's within their boundary.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And do we get a vote on what the trail looks like or what's built,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when and if the project, I mean, I guess the first step is to see if there's any grant money out there, because it's an expensive project,
yeah, no,
right?
I
And this is the Appalachian Mountain Club that has been pushing this through
Right.
some of our park and rec people as well.
Yeah, I
and
was just thinking maybe, I don't want, the Richland section to be completely wooded with guide rails the whole way.
Right.
They have to be replaced every, 3 months.
Yeah, the whole design, I mean, it hasn't been designed yet.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, so that will be subject to your
Well,
approval.
we get a vote for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Kathy, you have any questions?
So this, if there is grant money, then it gets filed, then we'll be responsible for it. I know this has been out there for several years. There were certain demands of the homeowners association, which we weren't, there were certain asks that they had that was not possible for us to maintain. We're not being bound to any of this.
No. Nope, it's all subject to future approval on the design,
Okay,
what goes there. I mean, the one thing that the HOA wanted was if someone's going to build this trail, then who's going to maintain it? That was one of their sticking points, because they don't want to maintain it, right? Which I understand. But they also didn't want nobody to maintain it, because then it just becomes a mess, so.
But I think, I'm sorry, I agree with Kathy. I think what happened is that there was demands on what they wanted, they wanted to do. And I think the position of the board has always been, unless you change that, if it's going to be our trail, it's going to be our trail.
Right, we'll decide what it looks
decide,
like.
And
Right.
that's all can be determined later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's still kind of up in the air. Like Kathy said, we've been having these discussions for 2 years at least. It's still kind of up in the air as to who's going to build it, right? We initially thought that the Appalachian Mountain Club was going to build it, and then at one point they came back and said, well, no, we'll help you get money, but you guys need to build it. And we said, well, wait a minute, time out. That wasn't the deal. So, I mean, again, this is just preliminary step one to see if there's grant funding available. If there's no grant funding available, it's too expensive a project for anybody to do, so.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Chris, you have any other questions?
I do not.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize execution of the Tollgate Landing Trail easement between Richland Township, Milford Township, and Tollgate Landing Homeowners Association.
I'll second that.
All right, Chris made the motion, Kathy seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we do not have any board and staff appointments, so we're going to go right to supervisors. Chris,
I don't have anything, thanks.
Kathy?
I have nothing.
All right, so I do. Several things. National Night Out. It was Monday, Tuesday? What day was it?
Tuesday.
800 ice cream bars were handed out. What we did is we divided up into 2 groups, and each group is assigned to certain areas of the township. And unfortunately, even with 800 ice creams, it still was not enough. So certain communities did not get to enjoy the ice creams that was donated by BJ's. So shout out to BJ's for helping out. So for both my colleagues, Kathy and Chris, thanks a lot for coming out. It was a great night. You know, you really get out there and get to see the people and talk to them and see the kids really enjoying coming up to the police vehicles. And Rich, the Chief Fico, was out there along with Sergeant Kistart and Sergeant Lawhead and Corporal Mergen are also out there. And we had some fire companies come out. We had Quakertown Fire Department come out. We had Richland Township Fire and Rescue come out. So there was a lot of people out there, and saw a lot of smiling faces. I also want to thank State Representative Craig Statz, who provided us some really nice coloring books to hand out for the children and talked about fire protection and educating the young children on that end of it. So it was really a great time by all. So thanks again for both of you for making the night so enjoyable. The last thing, another thing is on Friday we had our last of our movie nights. Kathy and Chris and I were out. We had a nice turnout. This is the first year, I believe, that we actually were able to make all 3 movie nights.
3 for 3,
So
yeah.
now hopefully we're not going to sacrifice Community Day. Community Day is coming up. That is going to be the 23rd of this month. So for those of you who have not been out to our Community Day, stop by and see us. It's an event at Veterans Park from 10 to 2. Other than the food, everything is free. There's these humongous inflatable rides. We have a petting zoo. We have caricature artists. We'll have clowns there. And I'm not talking about me, but we have other clowns there. And it is a really, really good time. So if you have nothing to do going on the 23rd between 10 and 2, stop by and say hello to Kathy, Chris, and I, and some of the other people that are going to be there also. That is all I have.
Yeah, Dave.
There you go.
Got to bring money for that, though, yeah, right.
Moving on here. Leslie, everything?
Just an update that I have not heard back from PennDOT regarding the brake retarder restrictions on Route 663. Reached out to them again, so I'm still waiting to see if we'll get some response on them doing a study.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you. Mike?
I don't have anything further.
All right. Okay, Link?
Nothing further, thanks.
Chief?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on the proposed hiring of replacement officers. We closed the acceptance, I believe it was on the 18th of July. We received somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 applications and resumes. We kind of did it both ways again, where we had them apply through the Police One app, and then also if they didn't have that, they could send in a resume. As of today, we started interviews today. We interviewed, the first group we went through was those that have the police academy, and we were hoping that we would find some viable candidates and not really have to move further than where we were at. And I'm pleased to report that all 6 were viable candidates. So now we just have to figure out logistics moving forward. Some of these gentlemen are in process other places, so we're not sure which one of the 6 or which 2 of the 6 we might get. And if we don't get it, then we can prepare to move on to the next group of applicants. That's all I have.
All right. Chris, you have any questions for Chief?
No.
Kathy?
No questions.
Okay. All right, I'm going to open up the one last opportunity for public comment. Is there any public comment? All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Chris made a motion, Kathy seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks. Good night.